Right then, this is a quick walk around video for a stunning looking little car. This is a Honda CRZ GT. This is the later higher horsepower version, so it gets the black leather interior plus some extras on the car which look lovely. You've got these wonderful looking alloys, silver trims on the A-pillars there, silver grille. The car's covered just 42,000 miles. It's been wonderfully looked after. Go around the car for you. Front of the car really clean, lights, lenses clear, intact, no cracks, no condensation. Bonnet itself, hardly a stone chip anywhere on there. Very clean indeed. There'll obviously be the odd tiny little one. Near side of the car, really smooth in the panels. It's such a striking looking car. As I say, this one is clearly destined for kind of modern classic status because it looks absolutely stunning, I have to say. And then coming down the near side here, again, all very clean. I did see, and I'm trying to find it, right at the bottom of the door, just on here, it's been touched in, but it's just caught against something. But I'm trying to pick up on anything. It's obviously been touched in by the chap, but it's low down, but I don't want to miss anything if I possibly can help it. Coming around the back of the car, sorry, such shaky hands this morning. It's such a unique looking car, it really is. Again, very clean around the back of the vehicle. Coming around to the offside, driver's side. Again, wonderfully smooth in the panels. Real sort of natural luster to the paintwork, which looks absolutely superb on the cars. It really is absolutely lovely, I have to say. It's not to say, you know, it's an 8-year-old car in black. There will be the odd minor mark, apart from the one I mentioned there, which you're bound to find, but essentially it's in absolutely lovely condition. Coming to the back of the car, good size boots on the car. Nice to see this one's been fitted with the optional load liner there. Honda manufacture this as a 4-seater, would you believe? Gosh, that's your leg room, which is absolutely zero. In all honesty, just pop that down, take that out, and you've got yourself an enormous boot area. So coming to the front on the passenger side, you can tell it's the later version because it gets the black dash, black leather seats rather than the silver trim of earlier models, but it's in absolutely beautiful condition. Driver's door card, again, lovely condition. Footwell areas, absolutely superb. And driver's seat itself in absolutely fantastic condition. One that should show the way and shows very little, in all honesty. So inside the car now, engine's running this section as always, so the dash can be seen illuminated. And what an amazing dashboard it is. And it is in just beautiful condition in here. It looks virtually like sitting in a new car. And then you get this simply amazing looking dash binnacle in front, which I'll go into more detail on the following road test video. But everything working exactly as it should. Should you choose the bottom 2 options, Econ and Normal, you get this blue dash. If you press the top button, go into sport mode, it turns red and the excitement begins. It really is lovely. Later model, so you get the S Plus button, and that's the easy way to tell. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CRZ. And it's the GT model, top of the range car, one of the later ones as well. Registered PF63GGA and with a mileage of 42,615 recorded. The reason we do all of our videos, especially this road test section, is basically so that if anyone is online looking at our cars, they get to see the cars we're advertising actually in operation. And the reason we feel that's important is because, unfortunately, to our cost, we have been to see way too many cars which have been described as being good, only to get there and drive them to find out they've got a fundamental issue that shows up whilst driving. So, hence, that's why we do it. We also do it on these beautiful, quiet country roads very close to our premises. And this actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on. So, hopefully, we'll be then representative of what you'd feel yourself should you offer to test drive in the car. So coming to the car itself, as you'll know from the advert, it's got a wonderful service history, and it feels it straight away because the car drives as tight as a drum. Absolutely superb cars. With the CRZs, obviously you've got an engine start button which was into life immediately and settles to completely smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. But it's just such a lovely integration of the hybrid system. The hybrid on these cars, like all of Honda's hybrid vehicles, are what they refer to as self-charging. So basically you own and drive the car exactly as you would a normal petrol car. You can't run out of battery power. Every time you back off the throttle or hit the brakes, it regenerates. The only thing you can run out of in a normal way is fuel, and that's it. That's how complicated they are, because basically driving along you can hardly feel how it's operating. You can have a little diagram down there telling you what it's doing in most basic form, but essentially it's unobtrusive. It just doesn't get in the way, and it is a brilliant setup. It's absolutely seamless. Attached to that is obviously the Honda 1.5 4-cylinder engine, which is typical of the breed. It's got kind of a lovely kind of rorty induction. Put your foot down, it has a little sort of snarl to it as it sort of picks up. It's just it's totally in keeping with the character of the car as well. It does, as I mentioned in the advert, it gives you 3 modes of driving on these cars. You've got Econ, Normal and Sport. The Econ, if I put it into that now, is obviously the most economical, so basically you'd expect it to feel a little bit on the slow side, and it's probably a bit too slow for me, I have to say. It's not bad, far from it, but you can just definitely feel the throttle response isn't the same. It's sort of more slower in that sense. By the way, it is early in the morning. We're about to be blinded by the sun, which is not a bad thing, so I apologise for the glare. But it's around town absolutely fine. Normal, again, obviously it's halfway between the other two in terms of where it operates, and then sport mode, immediately feel a totally different throttle response. Is really keen to get up and go. Got the S+ button on the steering wheel, press that, and that really adds, for a short period, a real sort of burst of energy as well. And it's not only is it very effective, all of those things, it adds to the driving pleasure of the car. It gives you something else you can do. You're not just sitting in this one-dimensional vehicle. As I said in, I think, a couple of videos on the CRZs, I mean, my first one, I spent my time trying to sort of nurse the car along to get its fuel economy, and didn't really enjoy the car as I should have done. Generally now, I just jump into them straight into sport mode, and it's completely changes the character of the car. Now it's just got that keenness, that eagerness to get up and go. And there's I often say that what these cars remind me of, especially with the chassis and the steering as well, which I'll come to in a second, is of a kind of a 90s hot hatch. It feels light in its feet. It's not over powerful. What I mean by that is, a lot of these cars now, they're insanely quick, but you can't use it. Whereas this, you can use it and you can enjoy it, and I think that's what makes it the car it is. What helps with the car, obviously, coming back to the mechanicals, the clutch perfect, bite point exactly where it should be, silky smooth. Gearbox is one of Honda's best gearboxes ever. It is a fantastic gearbox. From the moment you rest your hand on the kind of half chrome, half leather gear knob there, which feels strangely, it's perfectly shaped. Whoever designed that is a genius, because your hand rests on it naturally, and where I've never held a gear lever before, but the actual gear change is sensational. It really, really is. And feels absolutely as new, by the way. And then coming to the chassis, it just gets better and better. The steering, by the way, tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations at all at any speed. Certainly not up to the legal limit that we can go to. But it's a beautiful power steering system. It's really nicely weighted. Its gearing is pretty much perfect as well, because what it gives you is, you may kind of wonder if you ever drive one, what's he on about? But the more you drive them, the more you appreciate how good it is. The weighting gives confidence with the car at all speeds, all corners. It doesn't ever feel nervous. Some cars can get people horribly nervous, but this works brilliantly, and it works with the chassis superbly, because the chassis is so dynamic, so keen, it just wants to change direction, but it does so with this really compliant and well damped ride. You know, it's not harsh. You know, don't get me wrong, if you hit a sharp bump, you know it's there, but it rides them with a compliancy which you possibly wouldn't expect, given kind of the nature of the car. But the whole feel of the car is one that it is fun, you know, but not in a sort of juvenile way. It's a car that you can sit back and relax if you want to, but it's, you know, at any time you can just sort of pick up the pace and sort of, you know, flow through corners. It's a shame the bus is there, because it'd be nice to have done that, but it really is a wonderful chassis. And what I'm looking for on these road tests, by the way, is any kind of noises from the chassis that shouldn't be, any kind of sort of rattles or clonks, and there's nothing at all. It's absolutely solid as a rock. Brakes, actually, while I'm behind him, I'll just give them a bit of a shove, make sure no one's behind me. But good brake pedal on the car, nice and solid. What I'm looking for is no kind of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal, and it's all absolutely spot on. So coming inside, I know this feels like I'm going on about how much I love this car, but I do. You know, I'm massively biased. I stick my hand up and say it straight away because I love them, but I'm not pulling any punches on any issues, should there be any, and I've found nothing at all. But I happen to think that it's just a wonderful car. Interior, as you'd expect of any Honda, is beautifully put together in the way they know best. You know, it's just, there's no creaks or rattles, it's beautifully assembled, but it's a brilliant place to sit, because again, it's not like a normal car we get and you're just confronted by the same old designs in front. This couldn't be anything other than a CRZ. It's just brilliantly done, but also very effective in the way it gives you the information and allows you to use it. You know, you've got a dead simple radio there, that's about as standard as it gets. Then you've got these two very symmetrical pods either side of the steering wheel. And for those who've had S2000s like myself, you know, that's very reminiscent of the symmetry of button operation. You've got your climate control here, which pumps out lovely cold air, by the way. But every button has a beautifully damped actuation to it, which is Honda's way. And then finally, directly in front, you've got this wonderful dash design, and to me it's kind of 80s 90s arcade in terms of kind of how it looks to me. And I know that I'll probably get people who own CRZ shouting at me, but I love it. I think it's fantastic. It gets the information over, which is obviously what it's designed to do, but it does so with, it's interesting, it's labelled beautifully, it's coloured beautifully, because obviously when you're in sport as I am now, you've got this lovely kind of red hue around the kind of floating digital display for your speedo. If I press to normal, that changes to blue, so you know they leave the red for the sporty section, of course, and in normal and econ it's blue, but if I back off it changes to green, so very subtly. It's not in your face, it's not annoying, and that's obviously encouraging you to drive economically. So it's brilliant, absolutely superb. Steering wheel, small in diameter, absolutely perfect, leather bound, feels like new. The interior of the car is in beautiful condition. The interior just looks like new in here. We've not touched it yet in terms of cleaning, and yet it hardly looks as though it needs touching at all. It's in absolutely stunning condition. As I said at the start of the video, the point of it is really just to show the car in operation, but to feedback on anything that's wrong that shows up whilst driving, and there's absolutely nothing at all. You know, I've owned these cars, I know what they're like, and there should be something missing. I spot it straight away. But it not only does it drive well without fault, it drives exactly as I remember them driving when they were new. So that's how good it is. As always, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call.